What is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 82 of the Best Self Blueprint. For those of you who don't know, the mission of this podcast is, whether on a solo episode or by bringing on a guest, to educate and inspire you on how to move that dial towards becoming the best version of yourself, whatever that means to you. So, a few quick promotional things before I get into the meat and potatoes of today. The first one, private coaching with yours truly. When I opened the studio, I wasn't sure that I wanted to do a whole lot of private coaching, but in the last month, I've worked with a couple people and I see the need that so many have for this service, just for me to help in my way to get them to where they know they can get. And so I'm going to open up private coaching for anyone who is interested. Again, this is if you are going through the motions, doing the right things, not getting the result. If you're doing that and getting the result, but not feeling fulfilled by it, if you just feel lost and misaligned, if you want to level up yourself, whether that be in a specific area or in life in general, hit me up. There will be a form for private coaching. It's a free consultation to see if it makes sense for you, if it makes sense for me. So hit me up and we will see what we can do for you. Workshops. There are 2 workshops coming up this month. The first one, February 24th, part of the whole framework series. So every month I will be doing a workshop on one of the most crucial and important frameworks I've come across as a coach, as a trainer, as a human being, as all the stuff. So February 24th from 10:30 a.m. to noon, that is a Saturday. That workshop will be more in depth and it is limited to 15 people. There are already 6 people signed up. So if that's something that you want to get in on, definitely get in on it. Again, there will be a form below. Sign up. We'll get your spot reserved. And then the very next day, and I'm very excited to announce this one. So February 25th, Sunday at 1 p.m., I am going to be doing a free workshop at Body by Design in Waukesha. So this will be the first of many partnered events that I will be doing as, the face of Best Self, that we'll be doing with Body by Design. I love that community. I love those people. I was a trainer there for a good couple of years. And the hope is that this free workshop will be the first in many things that we do collaboratively to just level people up across the board, bring in the best people in each kind of niche down category to do what they do. So I will be doing a free mindset workshop. That one, there's really no cap. So if you're interested, it'll be free. It'll be at the gym, February 25th, 1 o'clock. Bring friends. This will be more of a quick, probably like 45-minute workshop, but it will still be very useful and impactful for anyone who's looking to make a change, level up, all the things. So those 2 workshops. Space rentals. This is for any of the coaches out there, people who have wanted to try their hand at whether it's a workshop, a class, coaching clients in anything that involves health, wellness, self-development. This studio space is for you. The goal is to create a community of not just my clients, but of other coaches, of different groups, of people who are trying to live an extraordinary life, doing extraordinary things. So if you're someone who is a coach or a practitioner that wants to use the space to teach your thing to other people, please, please, please hit me up in the description. That's about it. That's all the promotional stuff. So let's get into it. So the reason I wanted to do a solo episode today is the past couple months have been quite chaotic. There have been very high highs, very low lows, a lot of craziness that has ensued. And so I wanted to just hop on, talk about a couple of the things I've seen through the lens of a coach and through the lens of a human being, and maybe it'll provide value. Who knows? We'll see. So let's start with the January workshop. This was the first installment, if you will, of the game series, right? So this one was the framework series. So this one was the game. This is all about the game of life, how to experience success, fulfillment, enjoyment, peace, all the stuff. There was a takeaway that every single person in the workshop had. So at the end of the workshop, went through all the material, and then I asked, is there something that surprised you, stood out to you, whatever? And every single person said that what stood out to them was the piece of build your team. So in this, I talked about an energy audit. So the people that you associate with, friends, family, coworkers, all of the people that have energetic exchanges with you on a consistent basis. Do they raise you up or bring you down? Simple as that. So we talked about that a little bit. And then I went a layer deeper and I brought up the success wheel. So this is the external areas of life, right? Finances, career, health and wellness, lifestyle, relationships, all of those things. And I told everyone, think of one person on your team who inspires you in that area of life, someone that you want to emulate what they have created for themselves in that area. Not saying you want to be that person, but as it pertains to this part of how they do life, you would love to be at that point. And everyone was surprised at how difficult it was for them to come up with someone who inspires them in that area. And in turn, that really surprised me. And so as a coach, it showed me that this is something to take notice of. So you, my lovely listener, take notice. Is that something that you've thought about recently? Is it something that in your life you can, in each of those areas, write down at least one name of a friend, family member, or coworker who you actually talk to that inspires you, that you want to set the pace for what you're trying to do in that part of your life? And if there's not, because there was a great follow-up question. One of the people asked, well, I don't have a big tribe. I keep to myself a lot. I want those people, but I don't know how to create that team. And that was a fantastic follow-up question because it's something I've been asked quite a few times from private clients, which is, how do I build my team? Like everyone's got their tribes already. The lines in the sand have been drawn, if you will. The cement is dried. But the thing is, it really hasn't. We're in a world where, despite being more virtually connected than ever, there are a lot of people who crave real in-person connection. There's a lot of ways to find that. So if someone wants to get more fit and they want friends who inspire them in that area, go to different gyms, spark up conversation with different people. If that makes you super uncomfortable, I would recommend it even more. If you're like an introvert or you're shy, I'd recommend that even more because then it'll help you grow your social skills and it'll help you build your team. So again, finances. I'm sure there's financial literacy events, spirituality. If it's a religious thing, go to church. If it's a spiritual thing, go to some type of spiritual ceremony. There are things in each of these categories where you can go out and meet new people. You just have to be intentional about doing so. So that was the first thing I wanted to talk about because it seemed to be quite the predicament for people. But you are the average of the people you associate with most. And so to my people, if you're listening to this, which, to be fair, you're all my people, right? You wouldn't be listening to this if you weren't. But to my inner circle of people, oh my gosh, I am so grateful because I do have such a great team. And this isn't bragging. This is purely gratitude for those around me. I have such an amazing team of people. I have been so blessed in my life to know people that truly, they lift me up, they inspire me, they push me to be better and grow so that I can in turn help them be better. And so just wanted to say thank you kind of out loud, I guess, to nobody because I'm in the studio by myself. But yeah, just appreciation. And if you have people like that in your life, appreciate them. Call them, meet up with them, text them, tell them you appreciate that. I will be doing that every day for the next probably month or so, is go through my list of people and just shoot off a quick appreciation text. But so I wanted to talk about that insight because, again, that surprised me as a coach. That surprised me as a person, if I'm being honest. And so it's just something to kind of think about. So while I take a sip of water, go ahead and think about that. But the next piece I want to get into is more my stuff. So like I said, the last couple months have been crazy. My dreams have come true. I have felt amazing. I have felt miserable. I have felt numb. I have had so much stuff going on. And so I want to get into just the things that have happened that kind of threw me off. What I did that I thought was such a beautiful experience, although it was very difficult, embarrassing at times. And so I want to get a little transparent on this podcast. But so the past couple months, here are the highlights. Best Self Studio is open. For those of you who don't know, I also, on top of the studio, I do sales for renewable energy. So I'm with a traveling team. So a third of every month we go out, we go into a market, we try to help homeowners convert to clean energy. So studio opened, got promoted with that sales job, which has been, something I've been looking forward to for months. Brother had a son, so I have a godson now. And then there are smaller but beautiful wins all baked in, but those are three huge ones. So my passion project, Best Self, has leveled up. My job has leveled up. My family has leveled up. All of these beautiful, beautiful things. But also, I mismanaged and mistimed my money to where when this studio opened, I was in such a state of lack because I had mistimed things. So for those of you who are aware of kind of what the progression has been, up until fairly recently, I was a personal trainer. Well, I stopped my personal training at a time where I was expected to get a pretty large check from my sales job, at which point I was going to use that as the cushion for the transition into the studio. Well, I stopped with my personal training clients. I spent a lot of money on stuff for the studio, and then the commission check never came. And so I was stuck in a very frantic space. And because of that, I fell short on just the very basic habits of when I stopped the personal training, that was where I was working out every day. So that threw me off my routine of daily exercise. I was in such a frantic state of needing to generate income that I threw away my mindfulness practices, my spiritual practices, my educational practices. And so there were these fundamental building blocks of what allowed me to feel so good internally, despite what was happening externally. Good days, bad days, what have you. And I basically, picture these things on a list on paper, I just crumpled up the sheet, threw it into a burning garbage can, and just completely neglected all the things that helped make me feel like me. And so the past month or so, I've just been awakening to the awareness of how far I had let myself slip. And that's something I hope is a lesson to you as well. Is there are a lot of people who look up to coaches and put them on a pedestal of, oh, this must be easy for them. They must have this all figured out. Coaches struggle too. We are human beings. Life happens to everyone. And yes, I have systems in place. Yes, I have experiences and belief in myself built up to where it's probably easier for me to do these things than someone who has never practiced them. But it reminds me of the Rocky quote. It's not about how hard you hit or how good you are at hitting. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. And for the first time in a long time, I got hit hard enough that I was laying on the canvas for quite some time. And so I want to go through just a couple of the basic practices that I've noticed over the past couple months that have made the biggest difference. The first one, more than anything, has been sleep. So because of how much I've been traveling, and you might even be able to hear it in the nasally part of my voice, but because of how much I've been traveling, my body has been not getting enough quality or quantity of sleep. And so one of the first things that I've switched is making sure that I'm getting sufficient sleep. So the past week or so, I've made sure that I'm getting more consistent with my sleep schedule. So being in bed by 10 p.m. as opposed to some days being in bed by 8:30 and then the next day being up until 1:30, then the next day going to bed at 11. It's pure chaos. So like experientially, not just as a coach spewing some stats, but like as a human being who fell off the rails for a month or two and now is getting back into these practices, sleep has been the biggest game changer. I wake up, I feel refreshed, I feel mentally sharp, I feel a lot more prepared to tackle the day with high capacity rather than kind of waking up feeling groggy, stumbling through the first little bit of my day. Makes a world of difference. And so that would be something to watch out for. And like my watch tracks my body battery. So if you have a wearable that tracks that stuff, that's a great way to just kind of make sure you're getting quality sleep. Is like for me, my body battery for about 3 weeks didn't get above 40, which is no bueno. The past week, my body battery almost every day has been in the high 80s to high 90s or even 100. Sleep is a big contributing factor to that. So that would be the first one. The second one I would say is my mindfulness routine. It's tied for a second with the next one, but again, I was so caught in the doing and I need to complete these tasks. I don't have time for the other stuff. And recently I kind of laugh at a quote that I have said so many times, which is everyone should meditate for 30 minutes a day. Unless you're really, really busy, then you should meditate for an hour a day. And I totally fell into the trap of I got so busy and fell into such frantic energy that I threw it off to the wayside. I was like, I don't have time. I don't have the energy to do this. And so for a good month plus, I tossed it out. There were days where I did it, and of course I would feel great. But for the most part, I kind of threw it out. The last couple of weeks, every single day I've done at least one of these: meditation, breath work, visualization, prayer, journal, something, gratitude practice. Usually 2 or 3 of those every day. And now I just feel this energetic muck that was compiling on top of me, and it felt like it was suffocating me by simply surrendering to whatever you want to call it, life, God, the universe, Santa Claus, I don't know. But because I surrendered and I took the weight off of me and I just acknowledged I am doing what I can do. I am controlling the controllables. I'm getting back to myself. Now let it go. Just let it go. The universe will do with me what it wants. I truly believe that. Now, I also believe there's things we can control, to each their own, but having that mindful practice, that spiritual practice to let this omnipowerful, omnipresent being take the load, right? Like I am done worrying about it. You will use me and my life force for what you want me to do. I will do it to the best of my humanly ability, but there's no more reason to stress. So that's been huge. Tied for second is fitness. For a long time, I was very, very good about my fitness routine. The last couple months, it has been awful. I feel the effects of it. I can feel it, on my stomach. I can feel, the muscle mass, like just in my arms and my chest. It feels different. The last couple weeks when I've gone to do strength training, it's a humble awakening, shall we say. But it's just these basic things, right? Get back to the basics. Exercise, sleep, making sure that you're, again, whether you're spiritual or not, meditation, breath work, those things, gratitude. And then I like to bake in prayer as well, right? But just such basic things. And so that kind of leads me to the last thing that I'll touch on. This will be a nice short episode, is creating the energy that you want to experience. This was the biggest trap I fell in recently, which was I was letting my external reality create word space. Wow. I was letting my external reality generate and impact and affect my internal reality. And that is a losing game. And for the recent past, up until the present, I've been much, much more intentional about making sure that I am creating the energy I want to feel within me and radiating that into my external reality. So even if there are quote unquote stressful things, even if there are situations that pop up, I am now influencing them and I'm putting the lens of positivity and calmness and abundance on those things. And in the last couple weeks, to each their own. Some may call it coincidence. Some may say there are other factors. That is probably true. But to me, I just simply switched where the generation of power was coming from letting everything that was happening externally impact me to allowing my abundant energy to impact the world around me. And so that's probably what I'll leave this episode with is create the energy you want. And that's where I will definitely plug Amy as well. If you listen to the last podcast, Amy will be using the space, the studio, to do breathwork coaching. I did a session with her, and when I tell you she is so phenomenal at what she does, I could not recommend more highly that every single person listening to this, if you are within driving distance of the studio, please, please, please work with her. It was revolutionary. I feel infinitely better. I feel so much lighter. I feel my energy has been so cleansed and so purified by that one single session. Now, we did talk about she offered to do free sessions for people in the month of February just to get her name out into the studio, to show people her expertise and her level of expertise that is so, so high. Those sessions filled up in 3 days. So she is no longer going to be doing free ones. Maybe if you slip her a $5 or something, maybe she'll scooch under the table. But for the most part, I believe that her free sessions are completely booked up, which is crazy. That's awesome. But that's because she wants to start doing real coaching with people and a consistent cadence, right? She wants to make sure that she's getting clients, really helping you on a consistent basis, probably doing workshops here as well. So cleanse that energy. That is something I don't even believe I can put into words how beautiful that experience was for me. It changed viscerally how I felt instantly. So clean that energy. Make sure that you are the one influencing your world, not the other way around. Be the differentiator. Be the generator. Get back to the basics. Do the little things right consistently. That is something, again, in 2 weeks of getting back to it, I'm noticing such a difference in my life, in myself. So back to the basics. And then one last time again, all the stuff for the studio, private coaching. If you just even want to talk, again, free consultation, fill out the form. Let's sit, let's chat. It can be virtually, it can be in person. There's a workshop coming up at the studio on the 24th. There's a workshop at Body by Design in Waukesha coming up on the 25th. I have yoga instructors, psychologists. Amy's doing breath work. I'm doing workshops. We've got a lot of happenings at the studio. Follow us on Instagram is usually where most of those updates are. Facebook, Instagram. Be ready every week on Monday. Podcast will be dropping. A lot of great guests coming up. If you liked this, click the like button. If you are not subscribed, subscribe. And if you have questions, comments, agreements, disagreements with stuff that I talked about, throw that in the comment section. Other than that, we will catch you next time. Peace.